Welcome to New Jersey Capitol Report. I'm Rafael P. Roman.
And I'm Steve Adubato. Joining us now is Deborah Jacobs, Executive Director, American Civil Liberties Union of New Jersey. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Tell everyone what the American Civil Liberties Union of New Jersey is. ACLU, right?
Right. The ACLU is a private nonprofit organization that seeks to promote and extend civil liberties, our rights that are outlined in the Bill of Rights. And that's our mission. We've been doing it since 1920.
That whole thing about being a card-carrying member of the ACLU, ever get past that?
People show me their cards every day.
They're proud of it.
Absolutely.
Let's talk specifically about the city of Newark. For those who read the Star-Ledger, the Bergen Record, other papers, they know that the ACLU has been aggressively looking at the police department in the city of Newark for a long period of time, and now the government has stepped in. What is the case?
Well, the ACLU actually first asked for federal intervention from the government in Newark in 1967 after the uprisings, and we have been litigating and advocating for better police practices ever since. In September, we sent a petition to the Department of Justice that contained 418 allegations of misconduct by Newark police officers, some even against other Newark police officers, but that covered a 2.5 period of time.
2.5 years?
2.5 year period of time, and we sent it to the Department of Justice and asked them to come in and help improve the department. You should understand this isn't about one person or one administration. These are ongoing problems. They're part of the culture. It's going to take external assistance to really make the change that Newark citizens so desperately want.
Well, Deborah, can I just say, when when the Department of Justice was asked if they had decided to investigate the Newark police because of your petition, they said no, it was one of the reasons, but not the defining reasons. Do you buy that?
You know, I don't know what information they received. I'm not aware of other people sending complaints to them, but if there are other voices, I would be more than happy to have them be part of the dialogue. We're just looking for change regardless of
whether you get the credit or not.
Be specific.
Or not.
418 charges of misconduct. Be specific. What are the primary charges we're talking about here?
Well, all the allegations we have included are serious, meaning things like false arrests, physical assaults, sexual assaults, deaths in custody. We didn't include the many, many complaints that are
sexual assaults
of
by
a demeanor level. Yes, sexual assaults by police officers, and in some cases by police against other police officers.
Were charges brought?
It depends on the circumstances.
Was there a single case where a charge was brought?
Yes, there were cases where charges were brought. Our petition includes internal affairs complaints, tort claims, lawsuits, settled lawsuits, anything that was publicly available. We took it. Some of these allegations may be false. Some, many may be true.
Check them out.
But we want the Department of Justice to look based on the sheer volume of it.
And Mayor Cory Booker, I saw the press conference. He said, this is terrific. He said all along that he believed that this was the right thing to do. He wants to make sure that we find out what is going on here. Is that an accurate depiction of where the mayor has been in this?
That's not an accurate depiction. As anyone who reads the paper or heard interviews knows, as soon as the petition came out, they came out swinging, said we don't need them.
They meaning?
The police director and the mayor went, 7 a.m. the next morning, they were on the news talking about how this is ridiculous and they don't need extra help and they can handle it.
That was the former police director,
Gary McCarthy, who's now in Chicago.
And the mayor, both, yes. They came out swinging. They did everything they could to thwart our efforts and say that these claims weren't legitimate or weren't true.
So
and the Department of Justice, obviously, you'd have to ask them what made them change their story, but I think the short answer is the DOJ came and they were going to be there. The Department of Justice is there.
The Department of Justice comes in. What are they going to do? The feds come in, they're going to start, investigating, asking questions?
Right, they're going to investigate, and one of the things they can do is have access to records that we don't have access to. So, for example, in our petition, there were 261 complaints of a serious nature. They were internal affairs complaints. Of all of those, only one was upheld. Of over 160 complaints of excessive force, 0 were upheld. Now, how can we assess that? We don't have access to those files as members of the public, but the Department of Justice can take a look. They'll have full access. They're going to interview officers. They're going to interview community members. They've reached out to many of the minority and ethnic groups. So they are planning to do an investigation. They said they're going to do it thoroughly, not quickly. At the end of that process, there could be a few outcomes. I guess at one end, you have a letter from them describing the deficiencies and demanding that they be fixed. At the other end of the spectrum, you have a consent decree and a monitor that comes in, just like they did with the state police, and have a long-term 5 or 10 year.
And if the report, the final report that comes out, is on the lighter side. is on the side that says, you know, there are some things that need to be corrected, here they are, please fix it. Would you be satisfied with that?
You know, I think that'd be a good start. The problem is all along in our discussions with Newark, they have more or less acknowledged most of the problems and said they would fix many of them, but they haven't been fixed. And that's where the real problem is. We tried to work collaboratively and cooperatively, but after 3-4 years of wheel spinning, we're like, we need outside help. Why were they not fixed? I think that, you know, was it a priority? That's a big question. They came in talking about internal affairs as a priority, yet when they bought 40 new police cruisers, there were no dashboard cameras in them. The most basic, effective, all-around supportive accountability measure.
How about this in terms of priorities? Do you ever sit back and say, you know what? By the way, as we do this program in the beginning of June, just this past weekend, an incredible number of murders on the streets of the city of Newark. Do you ever say to yourself, what an incredibly difficult job, almost an impossible job cops have in the city of Newark. Let's cut them a break. Do you ever say that?
I absolutely recognize the difficult job, and as a citizen of Newark, I feel the effects of that violence, and I too was terribly distraught by the shootings of the weekend, including the officer who lost his life when he was off duty. But to me, it's really about doing the best for the officers who are professional and want to have one of the best forces in the country. And what that means are professionalism and accountability measures. And law enforcement professionals who know their field really well are fully supportive of the kind of measures that the ACLU supports.
Really understand what it's like to be out on the street and to have someone resisting arrest and someone in a position where your life is on the line as a cop. Can any of us actually relate to that?
I don't think until you've done any particular job or walked in someone else's shoes, you know what that feels like. But on the other hand, can the officers understand what it's like to be powerless in their hands and handcuffed for no reason, put in the car? One of our teenage clients was held for 2 hours for no reason whatsoever, crying, begging to call her mother and being told no. And that's a less severe case versus beatings and assaults.
Well, let me take it a step further from the scenario that Steve painted. I mean, I have heard critics say, look, Newark's in a situation where they have 162 less policemen. They were forced to be laid off. They went through last summer where it was an incredibly bloody summer, more than 30 homicides. They're looking at a very difficult situation now, and this investigation at this moment is a distraction. It doesn't help. It hurts the department, and it hurts the people you want to help.
Quick response?
Well, the quick response is that crimes committed by police against citizens are also crimes, and they also contribute to the distrust between community and police. An effective police agency has good relations with its community. They feel safe around them. They feel they can go to the police. They're not afraid to be witnesses. The whole thing goes together. So you can't take out crime and crime by police against citizens as two separate things. It's part of the package. It's part of a full reform. It's
Deborah
part
Jacobs,
of a professional department.
I want to thank you. First time with us, Executive Director, ACLU, New Jersey. You'll be back with us again, promise?
I hope so.